Grand Theft Auto 5 has introduced us to some of the most iconic and legendary characters in gaming history. While the story centered around Michael, Franklin, and Trevor, Los Santos was packed with some unforgettable side characters who brought just as much personality and life to the world. Whether it was Lamar clowning on Franklin every chance he got, or Lester pulling the strings from the shadows, each one left a lasting impression. But after the final mission fades and the credits begin to roll, have you ever wondered about what actually happened to those characters? What happened to Lester, Lamar, Ron, and the rest of the side characters after their stories came to an end? In this video, we'll be finding out where are the GTA 5 side characters now, and can we expect to see one or more of these characters appear in Grand Theft Auto 6? We'll be starting with Jimmy De Santa. In the main story, Jimmy is a kid who
sits on his ass all day, smoking dope and jerking off while he plays that game,
and never worked a day in his life. That was until Lester offered him a job in games. Jimmy assumed this meant something in esports, but much to his dismay, this was actually a job at an old retro arcade. Jimmy reluctantly accepts the offer and is reminded by Lester that everyone has to start somewhere. He initially started with sweeping floors and helping clean up before eventually moving on to setting up the arcade machines. Due to his poor work ethic, Lester had his doubts that Jimmy would even last a week. Then a few years later, Jimmy makes an appearance with the Cluck and Bell Farm Raid DLC, and he's spotted at a burger shop purchasing drugs from Aaron Ward, which is callback to the mission Did Somebody Say Yoga. Although Jimmy doesn't have any dialogue, this is the last time we see him. It's unclear if he continued working at the arcade, but given that he's still hitting up the same dealer after over a decade, we know that he hasn't changed much. But before we get into the next character, let's talk about today's sponsor, Grand RP. Have you ever wanted to create your very own story in Grand Theft Auto 5? Grand Roleplay is a massive and ambitious GTA 5 roleplay server that has been dominating the scene for over 4 years. Unlike those repetitive roleplay servers, Grand RP offers a unique and fully immersive world where you can be whoever you want. Whether that's a fearless gangster, a ruthless businessman, or a dedicated police officer, your story is in your hands. With thousands of active players every day, there's always something happening. The server is packed with exclusive features, including custom mechanics and unique rules that make it stand out from the rest. Plus, when you sign up, you'll unlock exclusive bonuses and rewards to kickstart your journey. And the best part, signing up is completely free and super easy to do. Just use my referral link in the description and join a huge community of players where you can create your own stories and be whoever you want. Simply fill out all the necessary fields and download their launcher. And by using the official link, you'll get access to exclusive bonuses and rewards, giving you a head start when you join one of the best roleplay experiences out there with Grand Roleplay. Jimmy's sister, Tracey De Santa, was notorious for chasing fame by any means necessary, whether it's through talent, controversy, or sheer desperation. Back in 2013, she managed to land an audition on the chaotic talent show Fame or Shame, and while her performance wasn't exactly groundbreaking, it left a lasting impression, so much so that her reruns of her appearance are still being broadcasted on the in-game TV to this day. Against all odds, it seems Tracey has managed to cling onto the spotlight just long enough to carve out a tiny piece of celebrity status. At some point, she even launches her own line of TV merchandise, which somehow finds its way onto the racks of local clothing stores. It's also mentioned at the end of the game that Tracey gets accepted into college, and despite this happening during the optional ending where you kill Michael, I think that this would still be the case in the canon ending, but it would happen off screen. Although Tracey appears through reruns and a t-shirt, she doesn't actually make a physical appearance in GTA Online, so we don't really know where she ended up. But this left fans to speculate, and when it comes to GTA fans and their speculations, it can get pretty wild. Fans have theorized that the blonde girl from the GTA 6 trailer is actually Tracey De Santa. I'm not too sure where this originated, but I'll leave a link to the Strange Man's video about this because he breaks it down pretty well. But to quickly recap, the person in the trailer bears a pretty strong resemblance to Tracey, with a similar hairstyle and matching facial features despite the difference in graphics. The next clip in the trailer is the lady holding the hammers, and she says,
"Well, look who's back."
We all thought this was Rockstar's way of saying they're back with a new GTA, but could this actually be a clever way to reference Tracey's return? A lot of people have instantly dismissed this theory because the person in the trailer acts nothing like Tracey. She's completely covered in mud, which is something Tracey would probably freak out over. But this wouldn't be the first time Rockstar has done a complete 180 with a character. In fact, Marnie Allen is a member of the Epsilon in GTA 5, but in GTA 4, she used to be an addict. Then with Johnny Klebitz, he used to be completely against drugs, but in GTA 5 he became addicted to them. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities for Rockstar to do this. Let me know your thoughts on this one. I'm on the fence with it, but I'd love to know what you think in the comments. Next up, we have Franklin's best friend, Lamar Davis. Throughout the story, Franklin and Lamar share some hilarious moments, including that iconic roast. The last time we see Lamar in GTA 5's main story is during the final mission where he helps Franklin save Michael and Trevor. After surviving waves of enemies, Lamar dips out while the trio deal with the final targets, but he later calls to confirm that he made it out alive. While this is the last time he appears in the story, his journey is far from over. Lamar later goes on to feature multiple times throughout GTA Online, and this is where some people get a bit confused with the timeline. So before the main story, Lamar meets our GTA Online character at the airport and welcomes us to the city. Then later on with the Lowriders DLC, Lamar introduces us to Benny and his shop. All the Lowrider missions are said to be before the events of GTA 5's story, but I always thought it was after, given that Benny's shop doesn't actually appear in story mode, so I'll let you be the judge of that. Moving forward to the Los Santos Tuners DLC, set roughly 8 years after the main game, Lamar's Emperor is spotted inside the LS car meet. While Lamar doesn't make a physical appearance, we can confirm that the car belongs to him as the plates read Lamar G, which confirms that Lamar is still floating around in Los Santos. Then in the Contract DLC, Lamar officially makes a physical appearance, now running his own business, LD Organics. In the update, Lamar contacts us about Franklin running his own business with F. Clinton and partner. Anyways, throughout the missions, Lamar is often seen lingering around the office, usually roasting Franklin as always, but Franklin and Lamar aren't the only returning characters for this update, because during one of the cutscenes, we actually get to see Chop, who makes a surprise appearance. With this update came the Short Trips missions, which honestly felt like a story mode DLC featuring Franklin and Lamar. It kicks off with the pair catching Vargos raiding Lamar's warehouse, leading to a chase, a shootout, and their product being blown up. Seeking revenge, they torch the Vargos stash and steal a van full of weed and escape back to the city. Later, Lamar turns that same van into a weed mobile and tries to pitch LD Organics to Epsilon members. Things go south when the Vargos show up again, thanks to Lamar leaking their location on Snapmatic, and during their escape, the van starts burning up in the heat, causing them to get high. Using this to their advantage, Lamar tells Franklin to pull up at Tequila La, where they'll use the smoking van to promote LD Organics. Feeling the effects of the weed, they end up smashing into the building, but the plan still works because it attracts a crowd and they all get high, which results in them all celebrating and successfully promoting LD Organics. Moving on to Franklin's ex-girlfriend, Tanisha Jackson. Throughout the story, Franklin attempts to rekindle their love, but due to Franklin's gang lifestyle and the death of her brother, she continues to push him further away and ends up marrying a doctor. Years later with the Contract DLC, we come to learn that sometime after the events of story mode, Tanisha's marriage ends in divorce and she ends up getting married to Franklin instead, and the pair even go on to have kids. Tanisha doesn't make a physical appearance, but we know these things happen through in-game dialogue backed with a sign at their residence reading the Clintons, and their yard is filled with children's play equipment. Tanisha also plays a small role in Franklin's business by finding new clients after she met a wife of a major importer at a party and asked Franklin to help out as their business was having issues with the triads. Simeon Yetarian is the owner of Premium Deluxe Motorsport and one of the earliest characters to offer work to our GTA Online protagonist. In GTA 5, he plays a key role early on until things go south when Michael forces Franklin to crash a car straight through the dealership's window. After that, Simeon makes one final appearance in the story, and that will happen if either Michael or Franklin visit the dealership between the missions Friend Request and Mr. Phillips. During this brief encounter, Simeon has two thugs jump you, and once they're handled, you're given the option to kill Simeon. But thanks to the After Hours DLC, we know that killing Simeon isn't canon, as he can be seen hiding in the office during a business battle set inside the dealership. A year later, Simeon returns once again, offering us a series of repo jobs, and after successfully completing a bunch, he texts the player, calling us Employee of the Year. Then in 2021, with the Contract DLC, Simeon is mentioned during a conversation between Lamar and Franklin at Record A Studios. Lamar casually brings him up, but Franklin immediately shuts him down and asks Lamar why he's even bothering with Simeon. It's clear their relationship never recovered, and Franklin wants nothing to do with him. Despite that, Simeon still remains in Los Santos, continuing to run his shady repo business at Premium Deluxe Motorsport. Next up, we have Trevor's business partner, Ron Jackowski. At the end of the game, Ron is seen hanging around Trevor's trailer in Sandy Shores, usually rambling about random conspiracy theories or doing target practice with some bottles. During this time, Ron and Trevor still had a pretty solid relationship, with Ron even gifting Trevor a unique hot rod blazer. But sometime after this and prior to the Smuggler's Run DLC, things started to fall apart. In the update, Ron ends up working with our GTA Online protagonist, and during the introduction to the hangar, Ron is seen trying to dispose of the the bodies of 2 agents. That's when he mentions that he and Trevor are no longer partners after Trevor left him. Ron also makes an appearance on a new episode of Blaine County Radio Community Hour, broadcasted by Blaine County Talk Radio. The whole thing goes for about 20 minutes, and during the episode, Ron talks about his conspiracy theories, and the guests even make references to the events that occurred during the story mode and in online, such as the snow in Los Santos during the Christmas events and even switching characters. The episode also has a guest appearance from Sophia Bowles Carmichael, who Ron discovers only came onto the show to seduce him, but Ron ends up kicking her off the show. This wasn't the last time we heard from Ron, because in 2022 with the Los Santos Drug Wars DLC, he calls to tell us about an unidentified group that have taken over Trevor's old building, Liquor Ace in Sandy Shores, and he asks us to meet him there to investigate. Upon arrival, we make our way inside to find that Ron had somehow gotten himself into a wrestling match with a woman, later revealed to be Luchadora. Ron asks us to help him out before being interrupted by the group's leader, Dax. Eventually, Dax realizes that we pose no threat and begins to introduce us to the rest of the gang, called the Fooligans. Ron expresses his concerns to Dax about Chef, who had passed out after taking a large amount of drugs, and advises us not to join Dax and the rest of the Fooligans, claiming that they are nothing more than just a bunch of weirdos. Unable to convince us, Ron manages to help Chef up, and the pair leave the scene. Then in 2025, Ron sends us a text message informing us that Trevor's old Mackenzie Airfield hangar is up for sale, and that he never really trusted Oscar Guzman, and wants us to let him know who ends up purchasing it. After everything that's happened to him, from losing Trevor as a partner to getting pushed out by the Fooligans, it's clear that he's been through a lot. He's probably still out there chasing conspiracy theories and broadcasting them on Blaine County Talk Radio. Next up, we have Wade. After the incident at Floyd's apartment, it felt like Wade got sidelined pretty hard by Trevor, with him only being seen at the Vanilla Unicorn for the rest of the game. This is likely due to Trevor trying to prevent Wade from finding out what actually happened to his cousin Floyd and partner Deborah, as he mentions that every time he tries to leave, the dancers pull him back in for another dance. This seems to be the last time we actually see Wade, with some speculating whether or not he's even alive. But in 2022 with the Los Santos Drug Wars DLC, we got confirmation that he is. Not only is Wade alive, but it turns out he has some pretty interesting connections. As mentioned earlier in the video, the Fooligans took over Trevor's old building, Liquor Ace, and it turns out Dax, the leader of the Fooligans, is actually Wade's cousin, and Wade himself used to roll with the Fooligans back in the day. And it turns out Wade is the one who actually invited Dax to set up shop at Trevor's old place, and even pointed them to the warehouse Trevor once used during the Series A funding heist. Although Wade doesn't physically appear in the DLC, his presence is still felt, with other Fooligans members speaking highly of him, painting a picture of someone who's well liked and respected in their circle. It's a subtle nod, but in a cool way to show that Wade's still out there doing his thing off screen. Dave Norton is the corrupt FIB agent responsible for taking out Brad Snyder in the prologue with a bullet destined for Trevor. Dave helped Michael arrange his death and relocated his family to Los Santos. The two remained in contact over the phone, but this all changed when Michael robbed the jewelry store, leading Dave to confront Michael, as he was meant to keep a low profile. Due to this, Trevor was able to determine that his old friend Michael was still alive, which unfolded into a series of events throughout the story that would result in Dave asking Franklin to kill Trevor. Despite Dave's request, Franklin goes on to save both Michael and Trevor in the canon ending of the game. During the mission, Trevor suggests killing Dave, but Michael convinces him to spare him in order to ensure that no one comes after them later. After the mission, Dave emails both Trevor and Michael. He confesses to Trevor that he wrote all the emails and letters from Brad, ensuring that all of his secrets are safe with him, but he warns him to stop causing trouble and to never contact him again. In his email to Michael, he says to stay out of trouble, and also informs him that he has since replaced Steve Haynes as the host of the show, The Underbelly of Paradise. He later calls Michael, and the pair both tell each other to look after themselves before parting ways on good terms. Next up, we've got the Madrazos. Both Martin and Patricia appear in GTA Online, although they're not seen together. We'll begin with Martin, as he's seen early on in GTA Online, giving the player a series of contact missions, but these are considered to take place before story mode. Then later in 2018, Martin Madrazo offers us a series of new missions called Madrazo Dispatch Services, and again in 2024, he gives us a bunch of assassination hits. Apart from the initial contact missions, Martin never physically appears again in GTA Online, but it's clear that he is still the same as he once was, sending us out to handle his dirty work. And speaking of dirty work, back in 2020 with the Cayo Perico heist, the Madrazo family were having issues with one of their main suppliers, El Rubio, who managed to get a hold of some intel on the family. Due to our previous works with Martin Madrazo, he recommends us to his son Miguel to carry out the operation. This is where Patricia Madrazo comes in, as she is seen during the opening cutscene to the update, drunk with her friends as Miguel Miguel explains the situation. Eventually, we manage to recover the documents from El Rubio's compound and return them to Miguel. With the documents now in their hands, Miguel calls his father to inform him about it and attempts to persuade his father into following up on some deals and projects of his, only to get hung up on. The contents within the Madrazo files included photographs of Patricia and Trevor's affair that occurred back in 2013 when Trevor kidnapped his wife, confirming that the pair actually did get intimate during their time together before Trevor returned her home. Lazlow Jones is one of the only recurring names in the GTA series, appearing in almost every GTA game. In the 3D universe, he was known solely as a voice on the in-game radio stations. When Rockstar rebooted the franchise with the HD universe, a new version of Lazlow was born, based on the same real-life person but a different character within the game's canon. He returned as a radio host in GTA 4 and later made his first ever physical appearance in Grand Theft Auto 5. The last time we saw Lazlow in the story was at the premiere of Michael's new film, Meltdown, at the Oriental Theatre. Upon seeing Michael, he quickly retreated inside the building to avoid Michael due to their previous encounter. 5 years after the events of GTA 5, Lazlow once again returns in the After Hours DLC during the introduction to the nightclub, appearing younger than before with barely any visible wrinkles and sporting a shorter hairstyle, likely due to him having to restyle after Michael cut off his ponytail. Inside the nightclub, as it's getting set up, Lazlow is rehearsing an unwanted live performance of his Fame or Shame show before begging Tony to let him DJ when the nightclub opens, only to have his request shut down. Tony instead gives Lazlow the responsibility of attracting VIPs and celebrities into the club, which he gets the player to handle. Although most of the celebrities want nothing to do with Lazlow, he still announces the arrival of any celebrity to the club over the PA system. Lazlow will permanently remain at the club and his behavior will reflect the nightclub's current popularity. When the venue is packed, he can be seen dancing around on the dance floor and on multiple levels, but if the club is empty or quiet, then Lazlow will act visibly depressed. Given Lazlow's long-standing presence in nearly every GTA game, many fans naturally expected him to return in GTA 6. However, back in 2020, Lazlow was faced with some pretty difficult family circumstances and ultimately chose to part ways with Rockstar Games. Although Lazlow's time with Rockstar has come to an end, I still think Rockstar should include some sort of an Easter egg or subtle reference to him. As mentioned earlier in the video, Lazlow had become a permanent resident of the nightclub, seemingly partying non-stop. So if he doesn't return in person or by voice, Rockstar could explain his absence by hinting that he overdosed at a nightclub in Los Santos. It would be pretty dark, no doubt, especially considering the circumstances around his departure, but perfectly in line with Rockstar's twisted sense of humor. Last but not least, we have Lester Crest, and he is one of the most instrumental side characters in both GTA 5 and GTA Online, orchestrating some of the most ambitious heists of all time. His story begins before the events of GTA 5 with the OG heist. Though these missions are set in the past, they lay out the groundwork for Lester's ongoing involvement in further opportunities later down the line with something more profitable than the typical bank heist. This leads into the Doomsday heist, where the player acquires a government facility and teams up with Lester, Avon Hertz, and Avon's creepy AI project, Clifford. Avon insists that they've uncovered a global doomsday threat and ropes both the player and Lester into helping him stop it. But as the operation progresses, Lester discovers that Avon is the one behind these threats. In classic fashion, the situation spirals into chaos and the player is forced to kill Avon and destroy Clifford to prevent a global catastrophe. Then in 2019, Lester reaches out again, this time sounding irritated after receiving messages from the player. He angrily claims that he's done with heists until it's revealed that his phone had actually been hacked by Georgina Chang, sister of Teo Chang, who was one of the former owners at the Diamond Casino. She asked that Lester and the protagonist rob the Diamond Casino Resort for her due to the Duggan crime family recently taking control of the casino from them. Lester, initially reluctant, agrees, and the player sets up an arcade as a business front for their operations. After successfully pulling off the heist, the crew meet on top of a building overlooking the casino to celebrate. That's when Georgina unexpectedly arrives before surprising Lester with a passionate kiss, kicking off what is arguably the most uncomfortable makeout scene in the entire series. Their relationship continued to develop as it was later confirmed when Lester sent the player a selfie of him and Georgina on a date at Del Perro Pier. By 2021, Franklin Clinton reveals that he and Lester are still in contact and that Lester had recently told him about the casino job. Franklin also references Lester during the payphone hit missions, calling him the dude who used to run the hits in this town. In 2024, Lester sells the iconic Darnell Bros garment factory to the player, and not long after, we receive one final email from Lester attaching a photo of him and Georgina, stating that most of Los Santos belongs to them now. With that, Lester officially announces his retirement from the criminal underworld. If you did enjoy the video, video, then it might be worth checking out my other GTA protagonist videos. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.